Muskan, since you told me to read out the capital terminologies that needs to be here, first of all, what you need to do is understand the defined terms that are there. So, what are the defined terms here? See, Oswald and Sons Private Limited has been defined as company. So, whenever I am referring to Oswald and Sons, I will refer to them, call it out as a company. C, capital. Any term that is defined or you are going to define throughout the agreement, it will be in capital. Okay? Any one place you forget to capitalize it, it's a silly mistake, looks very bad to your client. Okay? So please be very, very careful when you are drafting actual contracts and when you are using defined terms. Look very stupid, actually, I'm telling you. And it's a very common mistake. Everybody does it. Like, Tab India Private Limited is the distributor. Again, it has been defined as the distributor. So wherever I am referring to Tab India Private Limited, I am going to refer it as distributor and B capital. Okay? And the entire distributorship agreement has been defined as agreement, A capital, and agreement throughout the document. So now I understood the parties and the defined terms here. Now I will start basically drafting it. Okay? First thing, I'm going to explain absolutely as if you don't know anything. So even if you know everything about drafting, please excuse me. This is trying to be focused on everybody. So I'm going to start absolutely like you don't know anything, like a blank slate, okay? First thing is always remember to give a heading. This is very, very, very important. Heading is name of the clause generally. So here I have given you already payment obligation. You can name this as a consideration clause, you can name it as payments clause, whatever, but a proper heading. Lot of people gradually start, I don't know for what joy, even when this I take up in the very beginning, they start using bullet points in numbering. Don't do that. You don't use bullet points in drafting agreements. Now don't ask me why. No answer. I don't have any answer to you why. There are just certain things which are basically standards of practice when it comes to drafting. Okay? So expect your client to actually know these standards of practice, and the client will always expect a draft which is professional and adhering to these SOPs. Okay? So when we are basically discussing this SOPs, please from day one make a note of these so that you are never mistaken in these very basic problems or points. Okay? So how we number is generally, say if the clause is 1.1, we try to basically number it as 1.2, 1.3, 1.4 and like that. Okay? That is how you number the subclause. So first is payment obligation. What is the first element that we need to take care is amount of consideration, right? Okay? So amount of consideration here has been basically stated, we have not said the entire consideration kitna hoega, okay? So we can take an arbitrary amount or we can just keep a dash here, no problem. And who will be paying the money here? Distributor has the owners to pay, right, to the company. So first obligation when it comes to your payment obligation is on the distributor. So let me just draft it and then explain. So the distributor shall pay the entire consideration of X amount. Okay? Whenever you are mentioning, always remember, again, these are just certain standards of practice. Any amount that you mention in numerical, always call it out in basically spell also. Okay? So if it is say 10 rupees in numerics and 10 rupees as the entire word. Okay? So here rupees, whatever the amount is, dash only. Okay? To the company within the stipulated period under this clause. Okay? First obligation is to pay the consideration by whom it is going to be paid. The distributor shall pay 50. Acha. Here I can do one thing. These are just certain things you can take like as tips here. This total consideration amount, I can just define it as consideration or any word that you think is fit here. Okay? I'm just defining it as consideration so that I don't need to specify or call out this entire amount again and again. Okay? Shall pay 50% of the, now consideration, since I have defined here, I'm going to capitalize the consideration. Okay? Shall pay 50% of the consideration. What is the schedule in which they have said is pay before the dispatch of the product. Okay? So I have to capture this 50% of the consideration on placement of the order and before the stipulated dispatch. So the advance shall be paid strictly in cash. This is the mode of payment for advance. Now I move forward to the rest of the payment. Okay? Here, very small thing to observe here. Here the company also has an obligation. Can anybody call out what is the obligation of the company in this third point? What is the company? There's not only an obligation on the distributor, there's a very small obligation on part of the communication. Exactly. Akshay, I did not say don't use pointers. I said don't use bullet points while numbering. Like I am numbering the subclauses as 1.1, 1.2, right? Don't use bullet points in that case. Got it? Oh, communication basically. No karina. Balance payment is on part of distributor. Company has basically the obligation to first inform the distributor only on getting this communication or information. Now distributor is going to make the balance payment, correct? So here there's an obligation on the company also, and in this agreement or the draft clause, we should call out this exact thing, right? It should not be one-sided, है ना? Two parties are there, we should also call out and specify what the other party also has to do, right? So in case of dispute, it should not be like a one-sided matter. We need exactly dot, star marks, all that. Those are bullet points. Okay? Okay. The company shall, upon receiving the such advance, okay, payment, and after dispatching the order, communicate think of a better way of writing this. I'm not liking the way I'm writing. Anybody? Tell me, what can we write? Intimate. Good language. Good. Very good, Rashmi. Like it. Why is it typing now? Intimate or inform. Whichever. Inform. But intimate is a better word. I like the word. Distributor of such dispatch. Okay. Upon the distributor shall, upon receipt of the information from the company, pay the balance 50% of the consideration had been defined, right? Consideration to the company. Okay? Now, last point is such balance shall be paid either in cash or by check as convenient to the distributor. Okay, so this is how I drafted the clause. Now, just before we discuss this, understand that there are certain editing requirements, formatting requirements. Okay? What you do is select this entire clause. First, you justify the entire text, which is already justified. Okay? Font, generally in standard, everything we follow Times New Roman 12. Honestly, that's the standard. There's no such rule as to this is the only font that you have to use or something like that. But we follow Times New Roman 12 generally. Okay, now here why can't I find Times New Roman 12? So Times New Roman, okay, 12, justified, and line spacing we always give as 1.5. Okay, so this is basically how we have drafted this entire clause. Alignment and all, just check, okay, it should not be like badly aligned or improperly aligned. So now just look to this and tell me if this is seeming okay. Tell me now, look through this entire thing and tell me if it is seeming okay. Draft your own clause, but don't copy paste from here. Don't copy paste this entire thing in the answer sheet. You draft it accordingly. Language, whatever, you can draft it accordingly. Yourself. Arya Simhan, I will explain the points, no worries. But for now, you just look at the overall thing and see it. I understand there is required paragraph settings. Vishnu, paragraph settings as in the justification and 1.5 lines spacing. That's it. That you can maintain. You should maintain like what. See, if you are choosing to use suppose Times New Roman, okay, apply it uniformly throughout the document. Don't be like, please check all these things. These are very minor things, but very, very unprofessional mistakes. So it should not be like in one clause you have used Times New Roman, in the other clause you have used Vardhana, not like that. Ankita, mode of communication nowadays you don't need to basically specify. Email, telephone, anything you don't need to call. Practically you don't need to call it out. ठीक है, आजकल लेटर वेटर तो कोई लिखते नहीं है, राइट? ईमेल एंड फोनिंग इज द स्टैंडर्ड मोड ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन, so let's stick to that. Should we bold and underline subheadings? See, Premanathan, these are all very optional, but no, don't bold, don't use underline. It just looks, I don't know, these are very unprofessional manner of editing. There are certain standard methodologies when we follow in formatting, okay? Times New Roman 12, justify, line spacing 1.5, left align, okay? That's it. These are just certain standard things and it makes it look basic and well formatted, uniform. That's your target. There's no such ornamental requirements to be made, you know, कि मुझे ऐसा ornamentally I need to beautify my document and draft. Content obviously has to be very good, and overall a professional formatting and presentation needs to be made. Just remember that. ठीक है? Can we combine 1.5 with 1.6? हाँ, Johnny. Points, it's not nothing like you have to basically capture the points like I have captured. Nothing. This is just for the sake of drafting. Here I have done. If you think you need to combine 1.5 with 1.6, absolutely you can do that. ठीक है? The crispier the contract, it's better. Point 13, can one write INR instead of the word cash? Huh? Why not, Sandeep? No problem. Yeah, no problem. Right, no issue. We will always first letter caps distributor company, any defined words for that matter. Any word that we have already defined in this assignment, any word that you choose to define, like for example, consideration is something I have defined while drafting. Any word that anything that you define while you are drafting, every defined word needs to have a capital letter start. That's it. Okay, that's the rule of thumb out. No, Nimish, we never highlight within a drafted agreement. Please don't do that. See, these are while making notes, while writing assignments, it's okay, okay? But in actual drafts, believe me, the more simple manner in which you're going to format it, it is actually going to make it look much more professional, much more presentable. Don't use this highlighting, underlining, don't use these practices. It is not required, actually, it is absolutely not required. No, the entire word, no, Muskan, only the starting letter. Say distributor is a defined word, only D will be capital. Okay? Agreement is a defined word, only A will be capital. That's it. Did you understand about drafting? A little bit, at least. Can subheadings be written? Mitali, if it is not necessary, try to avoid subheadings and all. Suppose there are like a lot of things to say, right? At that time you give a subheading, but subheadings just make it look very unclean. I don't know. Try to avoid it. Altogether, try to avoid it. If it is not required, don't. No, ऐसे ही मतलब डालने का नहीं चाहिए. It's fine. Everybody, did you get the start? Now from next session, can I expect that you will give me draft like this? So what I'll do is, you will paste it in the chat box simply. Okay? I will paste it in a fresh document. Here, like I have drafted live, I will just carry on basically discussing with you and correcting it live. That's the process we will follow. One clause every week. Okay? And after we have basically taken up suppose 5, 6, 7 clauses, what we will do is, we will draft an entire agreement live here in the session. Okay? So entire agreement we will be drafting here, and basically that is how we will proceed. We will have a live negotiation session also, where I'll give you role plays, I will give you a problem statement basis which you will do negotiation. So these are the different activities that we will take up. See, learning need not be boring, okay? I don't believe in this boring methodology of learning, where it's like very one-sided monologue. I'll come and give like, there are so many senior people out here, I actually have so much to learn from all of you also. We can all learn from each other. Actually, we can do that. I really find this combined group learning methodology much more beneficial than this one like monotonous thing that we do. So just one request, participate in the activity, please. You will not curse me at the end of the day. Trust me. It will be okay. Vineet, we'll have slowly, don't worry. First, let's start with one clause by clause, then proceed to an entire agreement, then we will take up negotiation, and we'll plan different sort of activities. Okay? Akshay, I'm just basically typing in this document only the checklist that I have told you for formatting. Okay? No need of like memorizing it or anything, just I'm typing it out. So basically, Times New Roman 12 font size, justify, line spacing 1.5, okay, left alignment. Okay. Two more things I'm just adding here is that uniform font and numbering. Okay? This may sound very stupid, but please note that these kind of mistakes happen in actual drafting. So spell and grammar check after you finish the entire draft. Please run a very thorough spell and grammar check. It is very, very much required, believe me. I know this like auto correction and all is there, but still lot of spelling and grammatical errors actually happen because you're drafting now. It happens. Even when you're writing something on pen on paper also it happens. So nothing to worry, but just make sure एक बार check कर लेना. After that we can do. ये होता है bullet point, Vineet. ये हो गया ऐसे bullet point. ठीक है? Avoid this numbering for drafting, professional drafting. Never use this. Always try to have the subclauses numbered as 1.1, 1.2, like that.